the challenges of not being licensed is that you essentially have to find some way to compensate them that is a dollar per hour basis. In regards to our session today, I like to kind of give over the reins and kind of just say whatever direction you'd like to go in, I'm willing to go. And I also want you to know, like, all I care about is seeing you get it crazy, unbelievable results as fast as possible, because that's what you pay for. So I've been coaching for a long time. So wherever you want to take this, my friend, I'm willing to go for it. And let's just try to get you some value.
Yeah. So, I mean, you kind of know the story a little bit about we were in single family, built a portfolio there, and then transitioned to self-storage. And that's where we're at right now. And, I'm really trying to build. I see some of these higher level, like self-storage. There's not a ton of them, but there is a nice handful of really good self-storage wholesalers. Now, I'm not really a wholesaler in terms of like, that's not like what I'm trying to accomplish. But just like in the single family space, hey, if we're generating leads, we can cherry pick the best ones. We can keep those and then we can wholesale the rest. And so my goal really is to build a more robust off-market acquisition team. So it's just me and Troy right now. We're just calling in our local market. And
what is your local market right now?
Yeah, so Grand Rapids, Michigan.
Grand Rapids, Michigan. Okay.
And so our main goal, and we're building, as you know, I kind of talked about some developments going, but our main goal is to build a large portfolio here locally. So that's through the buy and hold. And typically we are looking for value add just like everyone else. So nothing new there, but so I've got my idea is, hey, Mitch and Troy, you stay firm on the Michigan market. And we go out and build those relationships, and we're doing that. But I really want to hone in on not only the skills, but then I also want to bring people in and have them be cold calling for us as well. So the goal really is to sharpen our skills and then to bring in more team members so we have more deal flow. We're assigning contracts monthly. We're buying, one every quarter, whatever the case is. That it's just to increase volume. So I'd say, Troy, you tell me. I mean, I think we're not doing the volume that we need, probably like 99% of people. And then I would say our sales skills in terms of like me pouring into Troy and other people is lacking as well. So it's no one's fault. It's just, hey, let's figure out what we're all really good at and do those things. And right now it's kind of like just, it's all over the board. It's not very, precise. So
sure.
Troy, do you have anything to add in terms of like maybe things that you would like help on? I mean, Henry's here just to kind of help us. So
I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but definitely thought I will as we speak it.
Okay, and then so just want to make sure, I'm going to reiterate just a few things back because I want to make sure I hear you correctly. The goal, if we just chose one goal, is to enhance the self-storage business through obviously, a multi-tiered, like we've talked about in the past, a multi-tiered approach, which is acquisition focus, cherry pick the best, sell off the rest, and make some type of fee.
Yep.
And your acquisitions at the present moment, is both of you pounding the phones away? Where are you pulling your list from?
Yeah, so we're using Reonomy, and then it's a lot of just Google Maps and then PropStream as well to gather any like current mortgage information they have. And I can sometimes find their personal mailing address. If like I can't get the owner, I'll send a piece of mail to their house, so it's very targeted at the moment. We're not shotgun marketing at the moment. Now we have the capability. We have like an in-house, direct mail process that I did in single family. So, but right now it's very targeted.
And again, I want to ask to clarify. So the vision that you have, is it to build a team?
Yeah, the goal is really, I want to build a team. And that's why I kind of went towards you, because it was more or less like, hey, if I'm not able to keep training people or Troy's still on the phone, we want to be able to bring people into our world and then have some sort of tool or place where they can start sharpening up those skills. And then so yes, the goal is to build out a team though, that we're actively wholesaling, we're actively acquiring, and we're developing kind of in the background. So,
and does anybody have a license? I just want to clarify for best?
No, I had a realtor license and it just became a pain in the ass. I was running into stuff with the local people asking me why I'm flipping it for 50 grand more. And so I just ran into like issues with it.
The art of building a sales team. Obviously, we have kind of like an aligned vision, which would be great. I'd love to be able to support you in doing that. Do you have, in order to build a sales team, right? Like I look at two functions. Number one, the leader, because they're going to follow your direction 100%, right? I have yet to find a very successful prospecting team where the leader isn't prospecting based, or at least they have a sales manager in place that is prospecting. Like someone's got to be very prospecting based to get them into action. And obviously I love that you're both prospecting. I love that. Like on our teams, like I prospect with my sales team, which is what works for us. In regards to your niche, I think that it's a perfect, done a lot of self-storage facilities, actually closed on a few this past year. One of my good friends is a very big self-storage guy. We're actually one of the teams that I am partnered with, one of the guys, the sales manager of that team that I work very close with, his uncle is the VP of Prime.
Very nice.
Right, which actually can be very lucrative for us. If you come across anything really big, we could actually flip it up. We have that capability. I mean, they look for really obviously monstrous stuff, Class A predominantly at great prices.
5.5 cap.
Yeah, exactly, or something in that range. Just know, like, we have that capability. So, like, my intention to be, and again, correct me if I'm wrong, I want to support you in building that team, which will have to create an acquisitions, not only for process for the agents you bring on, but an acquisitions of talent, like a talent acquisitions funnel and a lead acquisitions funnel, right? And I'm obviously taking funnel lightly. We're talking about a prospecting, we're going to go from prospecting to lead list. Like, where are we getting the lead list? How are we cleaning the lead list? Where are we calling the lead list? Do you use Mojo as an example? Continuing using Mojo and just working through the tools that it has, because it has some pretty cool tools in there. Then taking that information from Mojo, putting it into somewhere. You use a CRM currently?
No, we're just in Google Sheets. So everything's just going through Google Sheets right now. And it is kind of a tailor-made towards self-storage, but we don't have, that's another thing we're lacking. And I'm part of another mastermind that they're building out a custom Podio right now, but I don't have anything like, we just kind of got out of HubSpot and we're just back to Google Sheets at the moment.
So I look at it like this. You can make Google Sheets work. You can make anything work. It's just about making it work and making sure that you do one of a few things right. The big things that obviously that are a little bit complex through Google Sheets that you really can't do without other manpower, unless it's yourself, is the automations, right? Like automated texting, automated emailing, automated like ringless voicemails and things like that for follow-up purposes are going to be a little bit more complex, clearly, through Google Sheets than they would be through an REI reply or a follow-up boss or a Podio or whatever. Right. Yeah. So just keep in mind that like you have the pro and con of the simplicity, which we use Google Sheets for certain things. I like the sorting functions with Google Sheets. So my VA puts it everywhere, right? So we take a lead. My team takes. No, back it up. We take a lead list. We clean the lead list through different skip tracing softwares. If need be, like batch leads or other things, we import that into Mojo. We take the Mojo list. Then the team calls that list. Their job is just to prospect the list and do follow-up. What happens is that once they get a lead through Mojo, if they pick up a phone, somebody answers the phone. If it's a wrong number, we delete the number. And if it's a correct number, we remove it from Mojo. We delete it out of Mojo. And my team in the notes section of Mojo takes all the notes that they need. Let's just say now X amount of people are making phone calls. My VA will go into Mojo now, pull a report of every bit of the notes that were taken. So she can take every bit of all the information, even though the phone numbers were deleted, because we want to be able to call the same freaking list every day. She'll go through the notes. She'll take all those notes. She'll put it into Google Sheets and our two CRM systems, because one CRM is specifically for automations, and then one is specifically for follow-up and organization. For whatever reason, we have I'm not going to spend absorbent amount of money on building out my own tech software. It's fine where I just have a VA pay $4 an hour for and a very low fee for the CRM system, like Follow Boss, which is not a commercial software by any means, but it does the function of what I need it to, which is it lets me know when I have to follow up with somebody, and all follow-up is through it. So like I can see all the communication with the person because it's connected to my email and it's all connected in the same place. And then REI reply is really good for all long-term follow-up purposes. REI reply is fantastic, right? I can do ringless voicemails, automated text messages, automated emails. I was saying this today during one of our, got to jump on one of the, if you're making calls with us. the office hours. Google Meet. I like using a tool for what a tool is used for. Like if a CRM is built for a certain thing, I just use it for that function. That's my upfront process. For scaling this per se, you only have so many options. Number one, you and Troy are on the phone infinitely longer. Number two, you start building a sales team. Which do you have an acquisitions, like a talent acquisitions funnel right now, or no?
No.
Are you avid on social media?
Yeah.
And have you ever had a sales team before? I just want to know the experience level.
Yeah, I've had another person on our team before. He was up, that was in single family as well. And that was before Troy was around. And I basically just took him in and, trained him running comps, ARV, and just ran through, a week with him. And then I kind of put him out on the street. So there was no real process behind it, but it did work. And, I think he actually came from some post I had made. So I'm familiar with, but never like plugging in playing someone, never putting them through like a full out training course or anything like that.
So the cool part about this is that now we're partners in that, right? Where I can support you in a lot of the less for the management piece, more of the frustrating questions and in like the easy upfront stuff. Like I can handle a lot of that in the trainings. So most of this is getting them set up on systems, motor dialer, a lead list that can be imported. Again, I have a VA that does that half the time, right? And the other half the time, if I have to squeeze out a lead list real quick, I'll make sure we get it done. Most of the time, the VA handles it. So you have a VA handle it, scrub the list, throw it into a dialer. They're dialing every lead that they get. Essentially, like you have a system. We can, you have the system of automation over like, hey, like this is where it happens next, right? Like, obviously we can work on that together and kind of coordinate what would be best, but holding them accountable, making sure they're doing their phone calls, a lot of that'll be more tandem for us.
No, that's perfect. That's what I need really, because there's no point going out and hiring someone and then I'm getting pulled over here and it's like, damn, we're just paying this guy and there's no real process behind it. So yeah, that's a big portion of this.
And the other thing so let's talk about a few things real fast that are just kind of going off in my head real quick. And I know we're kind of moving different directions. The beautiful thing though, is that also you can have a number of realtor partners here. Like you could have a fairly decent size quote sales team leveraging other realtors.
Yep.
Right, where they're hunting for deals for you. One of the challenges of not being licensed is that you essentially have to find some way to compensate them that is a dollar per hour basis, at least from what I've seen. Now, you could probably do a per deal number or amount that could work as well. I just haven't seen that work as lucratively as a very low base plus bonus. And obviously I'm open to interpretation there, but that's what I've typically seen work best. But the beautiful thing about being in the investor side also is that some realtor partners can really help you build this together with you.
Yeah, that's a great point. And that's one area that I'm trying to work on too, is just networking and then getting, back shape, getting in front of those other brokers and realtors and staying top of mind on that. So
that's where a lot of the deals are, man. Like
I know.
What's funny to me is that there are so many realtors out there that I obviously try to support, and many of who come across the best deals ever really don't know the game. Right, like they're not the most active. It's like like it's like a friend of a friend. They sometimes part-time sell real estate, right? And then they list it the wrong way. They do it, like they don't understand how to value it the right way. And it's not a dig. It's just like I would love to know more of them, right? And it's like knowing those, knowing that many people or realtors per se, right? Like gives you a better opportunity of finding a higher level of deal. Definitely adding that to your repertoire on top of the fact of like building a talent acquisitions funnel, which is not just posting on social media, but like what I have found also is that like the greatest talent you can find is currently working for somebody else. So finding local competitors who have sales teams in recruiting their sales members. Like if you really want to build this out the right way, it's like, hey, like if you find a guy who already works for an investor who's already making phone calls and has had some success already, but they're just kind of flatlining or they're calling too small the deal, right? They're only calling single family houses and they want to start stepping it up a notch, right? And they want to start making bigger checks. That's going to be a person that would be a really lucrative find for you.
Yeah, for sure.
Finding your local competition and trying to hunt through them, or even just similar-esque industries. Salespeople in the contracting world, maybe they're pitching roofing jobs. They can pick up what you're doing, or HVAC jobs. It's something that's kind of like right on the right parallel to what you're doing.
Oh, they're out there for sure. I think right now for me and Troy, I think it's like, let's go through the sales trainings or whatever you've kind of got going and really become, we can always get better. So getting better between us, and then it's like, okay, hey, we've got this system in place.
Mhm.
Now let's bring in that person. So I think it's maybe, Q1 into Q1, hopefully we're bringing in another person.
Yeah, and I found that when it comes to recruiting, it's a always and forever thing for the right people. Always being open to it, because when you're closed, you close several doors. It's not
That's
just the person you're speaking to, it's everybody they know. So it's always a yes for me of hiring the right talent, even when I don't have a position for them. But it's like, I'll find a position for the right talent.
No, that's awesome.
And always thinking with that kind of open-minded philosophy. What else can I really dig in and support you with right now? Like if I were able to like figure out one thing, go deep on one thing.
I think the main thing that we have been trying to do, which has not happened last year, would be creating a system, kind of like you guys have touched on already, but we're just pulled in so many directions that we have not yet gotten the system in place that way.
Oh.
Yeah.
So when you say systems, because I obviously this is like a buzzword that a lot of people talk about. What system do you want, like in a perfect world? Because I heard you say you're being pulled in a bunch of different directions. Like what do you feel like is missing?
For acquisitions, just start from scratch, getting your list, where you go to search and gather all the info and
Got it.
The tools.
So
basically utilizing all the tools that we have currently on a larger scale.
I understand. The challenge with self-storage facilities that I've found personally is in Reonomy, the process is not perfect, right? Like in Grand Rapids, Michigan specifically, it says that there's 4 self-storage facilities. I'm just looking at it right now. I know that's wrong. If you go to, let's say we go for the whole damn state of Michigan, and obviously you could go out of state, right?
Yeah.
Do you have anything out of state currently?
No, I had a deal in North Carolina last year that we ended up moving, but just owning Michigan right now.
So right now, if you go to includes a phone number, you have 1,137 facilities in Michigan alone. This is just from Reonomy. Reonomy of what you could export from Reonomy and not have to skip trace, because they have a phone number. The cool thing though, so that's the bad piece. The beautiful thing though about self-storage facilities is that they're also the most public information out there, because their website has their phone number. So if you just look up self-storage facility anywhere, you can just go on Google, like you had mentioned, and have a VA constantly adding to that list for you for $4, an hour. I would probably, for lead building, like there's a couple different steps, right? Like, because you have first step is lead building, or lead list building, right? You got to get a lead list. Okay, list. Where am I getting my list? Well, I got access to Reonomy, I got access to Google. Cool. Based on those two things, this is what we're gonna have. Because like the challenge is you only got 1,137 on the phone numbers, and without phone numbers, your total number of facilities in Michigan is 1,528. So you got about 400-ish facilities without a phone number in Reonomy. So you could export that entire lead list, cross-reference it, and do whatever you need. So you can try to get as many of those phone numbers as possible. It's only 1,500 numbers, dude. You know how fast my team would go through 1,500?
Yeah, it'd be a couple days probably.
Maybe a day, right?
Yeah.
So, right. So I think that it's important to note that based on where you're at right now, we could prospect the entire state of Michigan, just even having the two of you do it, right, in probably a week or two. Like 1,500 isn't as much as you think, especially tackling it together. That being said, we're definitely going to have to probably expand either using Google. There's probably an extra maybe 500 to 1,000 facilities that aren't marked, at least, right, in Michigan, in Reonomy. So you have maybe an extra 1,000 or so, maybe 2,000 facilities in Michigan in its entirety that are not marked in Reonomy, but are available. That are, I wouldn't say available, but that are actual facilities. That's going to take a VA or yourself going through Google. And that also means the entire market you're targeting is maybe 3,000.
Yep.
It's going wide and it's going deep. Because of course I want to follow up with these 3,000 facilities, because of the 3,000 facilities, maybe you're going to see maybe 1 to 2% trade. So it's like 1 to 2% of that 3,000 is going to trade every year. Okay, great. That's 30 to 60 facilities a year in Michigan. So it's like, okay, well, what piece of that market can you really are you going to get 10% of that market share? I don't know. So that's why it's like, we prospect the entire state of New Jersey, but the thing is that we also have, over 100,000 numbers that we can repeatedly hit, which gives us a little bit more flexibility with, or I guess more opportunity as well when it comes to the types of deals we can work on.
Yeah, because you're hitting multifamily, industrial, different asset classes,
Correct.
more product. Yeah.
Correct.
We're not it's kind of like I love industrial in general. So it's something that, I've gone back and forth on, but I've kind of just said, hey, we're gonna just do self-storage.
Which I like the niche. I'm
Yeah.
not calling you to change that.
No. I didn't plan on it, but I understand those metrics and knowing, and we're completely okay with expanding that further. So
Yeah.
yeah, we're
Well,
we're
but also think about, you said development though, too, right?
yeah, yep.
Right. So like now that also opens up the amount of lots that are available for you to develop as well, right? So there is now, call it an extra quite a few thousand lots, maybe tens of thousands of parcels of land in which you could build. So that opens up a large opportunity there as well, which, maybe 1-2-ish%, 3% of those are going to trade. It's being cognizant of that's your market. Okay, great. So that's my market in its entirety. And how can I pull that data? And
Yep.
based off of that, now it's like, now I got my data and you've got the right software, Mojo, calling the data and having the best results from it. So when you guys are calling, what time are you calling and how long are you calling for?
Any time of the day. I mean, it's not like a window that we're trying to hit, especially on follow-up. So if it's follow-ups and we're not getting the guy at, in the morning, we'll flip it to the afternoon and try to catch him later on like a warm lead. So it really is just, in that regard, there's no real, reason or rhyme to like exactly how we're doing the follow-up or
Sure.
or cold outreach either. So it's kind of just anytime we're free, we're trying to get on the phone.
Because I mean, is it possible that you adjust your schedules where the first 3 hours of your day is just prospecting for new business?
Totally.
Everything else that you need to do, just do it after 12 o'clock. From 9 to 12, just prospect, right? Like, hey, like this is finding new deal time.
Yep.
Right. And then like that way you don't have to do it later on in the day. Right. And yeah, of course, you throw a couple, make a few follow-up calls while you got maybe some extra time later in the day. But 9 to 12 is not for other work, right? Just get the prospecting out of the way. Take those 3 hours to hit the phones every day collaboratively. And then that way, you're probably going to get some leads, and then you're going to have some time to, get all the next hour is going to be all focused on just catching up on things maybe you got to catch up on. You spend 30 minutes on underwriting new deals, sending out some offers, getting back to all the rest of the work you got to do. But I would definitely allocate the mornings specifically just for prospecting.
That's good.
Why don't we try to have just that schedule, and let's try to make that work for the next, call it, month or so.
Yep. I like it.
And again, obviously, if you come across any really good deals or, deals you say no to, obviously, I could pass it off to my connections here.
Yeah.
I know my guys would be open.
No, I love it. That sounds good.
Sweet. But anything else I can support you guys with?
In terms of data, are you primarily in just Reonomy, and are you getting any other data? Because there's like Data Axle. I'm not sure if you're familiar with them.
We primarily use Reonomy for contact information, CoStar for all other type of data.
Okay. I don't really have anything else, I don't think. I think we should be good now.
And again, listen, you got access to my cell phone number, and you should be in the WhatsApp chat. So, or we'll get you added shortly. So if you have any questions, you can ask them there. And we're here to support you, my friend.
Awesome, man. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Of course. I'll talk to you soon.